afternoon. We're going to be learning today the Sefiras HaOmer. Bichlal, the Seder of Sefiras HaOmer is we say the Birchas HaMitzvah, then we actually perform the mitzvah, we say the HaYom and the date, and then there are four Tefillas, the Harachman, the Lamnatzeich Minginis, the Anabakeach, and the Rabbi Shalel. And as we've done in the past, our objective is, first of all, to get every tefillah as a standalone and understand the Hemshech Inyanim, the Taich, and what we would call the interior design of each tefillah as it stands itself, and then to zoom out and to see the sequence, where we're going with the structure of these four tefillahs, what's the Hemshech Inyan. Now, B'derech Klal, usually in a tefillah you have the various biurim, there's pshat, remez, drush, and then there's the pnimis inyanim, there's the chassidus. But this tefillah of the tefillahs that we say Sefiras HaOmer are lachatchila al pi ha'arizal. In other words, it's the chatchila inyan of Seid. So once we have clarity on the teichen of each tefillah, when it comes to understanding the structure, the Hemshech Inyanim, we're going to have to lachatchila go into the Pnimis Inyanim to understand what's happening. So let's begin with the first tefillah. Right after we make the bracha and we do the mitzvah, immediately we say, we ask the Eibishter to return the Aveda. The yesod of this tefillah is in Teisvis. The Teisvis says that after the Sefiras HaOmer we make a Yehiratzen. And there's a discussion in Teisvis why specifically for the mitzvah of Sefiras HaOmer do we do this. Bepashtus, just in one word, Sefiras HaOmer b'zman hazeh is a d'Rabbanan. So we're saying that even though, and the Rabbi explained this once, that this mitzvah specifically looks like we're being mekayim the mitzvah the way it was b'zman habayis. On any given day of Sefiras HaOmer, a person stands and says the nusach, this is exactly the way it was done then. So we're saying, no, this is only a d'Rabbanan. We're asking that it should be taka the way it's b'zman habayis, where it begins with taka korban HaOmer, and then we could say, Avedas Beis HaMidrash le'mekayim, this is our tefillah. The unique maila there is in our lashon, our nusach, different to the lashon HaTeisvis, which is just the classic Yehiratzen Sheibana Beis HaMikdash, is that it says Hu Yachzer Lanu, and the Rabbi once explained that Hu Yachzer Lanu is not just a tefillah, a bakasha, but Hu Yachzer Lanu is a statement. It's an expression of faith that we know that the Eibishter will return the Beis HaMikdash l'mekayim, and we conclude that Amen b'mhera v'yameinu Amen Sela. Sela usually means miloshin nitzchias. Now, over here, what would it mean in the context? B'mhera v'yameinu, it should be done speedily in our days, forever. So, one pshat would be that the Beis HaMikdash will taka, the third Beis HaMikdash, as we know, will stand forever. But there is another pshat, that when we say Sela, according to the Ibn Ezra, he teaches it in various psukim and tilim, Sela is an affirmation of emes. So what we're saying is, it's in the context of this harachman, this past mer to say that b'mheira v'yameinu, speedily in our days, amen, and then Sela is saying as if to confirm that this amen is true, azevet takezai. This is the first tefillah, the short tefillah right after the mitzvah. Then we move on to the Lamnatzeich Minginis. Now, just before we get into the Taich, the Hemshech Inyanim of the Lamnatzeich Minginis, it's important to understand the weight this Mizmer Tehillim has. It says from the Rekeach, the Rekeach, the Rabbi Lozer Germeiser, it was the Rekeach, it was a Gematria Lozer, it was a Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda HaChassid. We're talking over here about from the early Rishonim, the early Bali Teisvis, and the Rekeach writes that if you see this Perek as it is in a tzir of a menorah, then you will find favor Beinei Elikim va'Adam. If it's on the Aron Kodesh, or if it's like facing the tzibur, so it will be a protection for the entire kol. It says meridik zachen about this perek. It says that David HaMelech had on his shield, which was in the shape of a Magen David, that's where the term Magen David comes from, as 6 corners, and it had in the middle a tzir of this menorah on a gold plate, and it was b'schus the tzir of this mizmer tilim in the tzir of a menorah that he would be mechaven beside, and like this he would win. And this is brought by many of the Rishonim. It's brought by the Kadmenu, with the Ramah brings it in Sefer Teres Ha'ela. It's brought from the Ramban that if you say this mizmer and being mitzayer the tzuras menorah, it's as if you are lighting the menorah every day. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we say this Lam Natzeach Min Guinness at the beginning of the davening, is because the Avedas HaBeis HaMikdash, part of it was lighting the menorah, and this is, we are now being madlik the menorah at the beginning of the davening every day. Now, why is this nechshev the tzira menorah? So first of all, there's 7 psukim. The 7 psukim go keneged the 7 knei menorah. It says in Mamish, in the early Svarim, it says that throughout this kapitel, not only are there 7 psukim, but there are 7 themes. There's Chanina, Bracha, Eira, Yeshua, Hida, Simcha, and Renana. And these 7 inyanim go keneged the Shiva knei menorah. But Beprotius, and this is what's going to be negeah for our Aved of Sefiras HaOmer, there are 49 words. What's 49 got to do specifically with the menorah? So the Avudraham writes that in the menorah there were 7 stems, 7 konim, but if you count also the gvim, the kafterim, and the prochim, which were in the design of the menorah, you will get 49. Add to that the malkochel, machteisel, each one lashon rabim, so you have another 4, and those are the first 4 words of the perek. Lam natzeach min Guinness, beneginis, lam natzeach min Guinness mizmer shir. So these 4 words are not part of the 49. They are the klisharis through which we light the menorah. Is lesikum, this kapitel in Yoni is the menorah, and that's why you'll find in many shuls you have a picture of this menorah on the Amud. It says from the Ben Ish Chai that you should look at this menorah the way it's standing up, not lying flat. I think there's a mashmos from the Rebbe quite clearly that it's not our minhag. The Rebbe says that there are such kehillas which have this tzir menorah, but it certainly is a Yisodose B'Harei Kodesh. What's negeh for us is that it's comprised of 49 words, and the middle pasuk, Yismuchu v'ranu lumim, has 49 letters. And that's what's going to be negeah for the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer, as we'll see. Now, first, let's get to the pshat. What's the pashut pshat in this kapitel? So the Alshich writes, and it's brought in Chassidus, that this mizmer is referring to Yemei Mashiach. Mashiach will come. There's, generally speaking, 2 general themes. There's Shefa Tevli Yisrael, Yidden are going to get Shefa from the Eibishter, and there's going to be Kiddush Hashem of the Eibishter in the world, as we're going to see throughout this kapitel. So let's begin, Pashut, going through the Seder of the kapitel, Al Seder HaPsukim. Lam Natzeach B'Negines Mizmer Shir. So the Menatzeach is, Rashi says it's those which are Mischaskim in Avedas Ashira. So Menatzeach is Meloshen Nitzochin, Pashut, winning over yourself, your limitations, like Midas HaNetzach, singing in a powerful way, as the Levium would sing. The Ibn Ezra says, and this is what became more mukubal, that Lam Natzeach means that there are certain kapitlach to which there was a designated soloist. So this is a specific one of the Levium. Whenever they would sing this mizmer in the Beis HaMikdash, he would be the one leading. Another taich, and this has become in most of the translations, has become menatzeach, and this is the way it's in Ivrit, is the choir master, the conductor. So this is la menatzeach. This is a kind of mizmer where you would need, because there are various instruments involved and singing, so therefore you're going to need to have a conductor for this kind of mizmer. Beneginos either means that there are 2 melodies, there are 2 nigunim, which could be sung which this capital could be sung to, or Neginis is referring to Kli Shir. That's what some of the Mefarshim and Tehillim explain. Mizmer Shir, as we know always, Mizmer is with a Kli, like Kli Zemer, and Shir is Bepeh. So there are songs which were sung in the Beis HaMikdash only with Kli, Bepeh, only singing, and this was Sai Bashir and Sai with the Kli Zemer. This is the introduction, and as we know, according to Kabbalah, this is not counted in the 49. So we haven't yet begun the capital. What's the capital? First, we begin with describing what the Eibishter will do with Yidden b'Yemei Mashiach. Alekim yechanenu v'yivarechenu, the Eibishter Chanina is the Eibishter will pardon us, and the Eibishter will bench us, and Yoir Panav Itano Sala, in an everlasting way, the Eibishter will shine his face, his countenance to us. There's another taich that yechanenu is miloshen chen, and this is the Radak, but it's actually I found in Sefiras of the Frierdiker Rebbe. That's the way he teaches in Tov Vav. He teaches over there that Echanenu is Miloshen, that the Eibishter will give us Chen. And says though in the Alshich take a Geschmacke teach that usually Chen is up to the person. In other words, we have to be Moitze Chen by the Eibishter, we have to find favor. But the Eibishter, when Mashiach will come, will grant us this Chen. So he's going to infuse us with Chen, and then we will be Moitze Chen naturally by the Eibishter, and then the Eibishter will shine to us his face. So both sides, the giving us Chen, and Sai, as a result of that being Meir Panim, the Eibishter will do Mitzidei. That's the great chesed of Yemei Mashiach. What's going to happen as a result of that? So, Ladas Ba'aretz Talkecha B'chol Goyim Yishua Secha. Through this, all the nations of the world will know how the Eibishter's salvation. And therefore, Yeducha Amim Elikim, Yeducha Amim Kula. They will thank the Eibishter for the fact, or Yedu is they will first of all be Meida, as in like Meidum Chamel Rameya, or deeper is that they will praise the Eibishter. They will see how kind the Eibishter is to Am Yisrael, to the Yidden. So this is the first part of this capital, is how wondrous Yemei Mashiach will be, to the point, first of all, the Eibishter will his relationship with the Yidden, and then deeper, as a result of that, the nations of the world will praise the Eibishter. This is, just today to think about it, that Kuman Atzait, when all the Nisim and Niflois, which are happening, which we see the kindness the Eibishter does to Klal Yisrael, the Goyim and the world media will fargin and appreciate it and thank the Eibishter for what the Eibishter is doing to Yidden. This is, it's hard to imagine nowadays. However, that's not good enough. Yemei Mashiach, and especially as it's explained in Chassidus, where Yemei Mashiach is all about bringing a lakus into the world, it's not just that the Goyim should be made and appreciate what the Eibishter is doing to Yidden. The purpose is that, the ultimate goal is that the Goyim themselves should have an appreciation of the emes of a lakus. And this is how we progress. Yismuchu v'yiranenu lo'omin. The nations of the world will not only be made, they will actually celebrate, they will rejoice. Why? Because they see that the Eibishter's ways are just with them. Just the Eibishter treats the Goyim fairly. Kisishpet Amim Mishair. The Eibishter is straight with judging the Amim. Ulu'umim Ba'aretz Tanchim Sala. The Eibishter will lead and guide the nations of the world forever. There is a taich. It's actually from the Malbim. It says in the Shimas that the Malbim in Pshat, Remez, and Drush does have a shaykhis. So when it comes to Pshat, it's interesting to see what the Malbim says. The Malbim says that there are three levels when it comes to nations. There are Goyim, there's Amim, and there's Le'umim. So Goyim is just a collection of people. Amim is a nation. A nation means a nation state where there's a melech. So this is a nation which have a national identity. So with Goyim only, the Eibishter comes and B'chol Goyim Yeshua Secha. But the Yeducha, in order to appreciate the emes of the Eibishter, for that you need to be a Am, you need to have some kind of national identity. This is a nation which is on a higher level. But when it comes to Yismuchu, in order to celebrate And the connection with the Eibishter, that is La'umim. La'um is a nation which not only has a nationality, but it has a religion. If you have a religious identity, a kesher with the Eibishter, that's when you could celebrate your kesher with the Eibishter. Now, this pasuk, Yismuchu, is the punchline. So we're not only bringing the Eibishter into the world, and his relationship with Yidden and Goyim are being made, but they are actually feeling their own connection with the Eibishter, which is the tachlis of Yemei Mashiach. And as we see, every letter, when it comes to Sefiras HaOmer, we're mechaven on this pasuk, because this pasuk is the thrust. This is what we want to get to with this kapitel. In the Sikha Tov Shel Lametes, Erev Chag HaShavuos, the Rebbe said this pasuk begins with Yismuchu because it could only be reached through Simcha Peretz Geder. This is the real breakthrough of Yemei Mashiach. As a result, so we have Yeduch Amim Elikim, Yeduch Amim Kulam, that they see, that the nations see that they are also getting the schar, and the schar has reached the point that even the daimim, even begashmius, eretz nosnu yevula, therefore yavarchenu elikim elekenu, the eretz, the begashmius, they're going to have a yevul. There's going to be they're going to be prosperous. And therefore, yavarchenu elikim v'yiru esei kalaf seyaretz. It reaches not only all the nations of the world, but all the corners of the earth. L'cheira, we're talking over here about mamish reaching the entire bria, and if we're talking about humans, l'cheira, if we're going to go on the mahalach of the Malbim, it's not only goyim, collections of people, but even if we're going to have single people, favorfen a mention, kol af seyaretz, all the corners of the earth are going to have a bittul and a recognition of the Eibishter. So to summarize, the harachman is a tefillah for the Geula, Yachzalon Avedis Beis HaMikdash, and now we've come with a full description of the Geula. This is a rina, a celebration of what the Eibishter is going to do, be Yemei Mashiach, be Megala Lakus in the world, even the Goyim, even Ad Kol Af Seyaretz. This was the second tefillah which we say after Sefiras HaOmer. Okay. Let's move on to Ona B'Kayach. Ona B'Kayach is a very unique tefillah. We say it in Shachris after Karbonis, we say it Leil Shabbos Balachadodi, we say it in Krishma Shalamite, we say it sometimes together with a vidui. It's Yodua that the Rashba says, it's written in the Chuvas, that it's Makubal B'Yidei Chachmei Artzeinu, that this tefillah is miyucheses to Reb Nechunya ben Akana. So Reb Nechunya ben Akana, the Tana, wrote this tefillah. And in Hakriyah V'Akdusha, he writes as a bepashtus, that's a tefillah to Reb Nechunya ben Akana. There are those which say that Reb Nechunya ben Akana was the one which took the Shem of Membeis Eisius and was Mesadrit. As we know that there is a Shem of the Eibishter, which is Membeis Eisius. It's called Shem Mab. And like it says in the Gemara in Kedushin, that you only meiser this Shem to very special people and in a special system. And it says that Rabbi Chanina ben Tradian would take this Shem of Membeis Eisius, and would be Mechaven, and then he could do whatever Mashu Chafetz because of the power of this. This is called the Shem of the Eibishter. So when we say that Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana wrote the Ona B'Kayach, what we mean to say is he took the Shem of Membeis Eisius and was Mesaderit, that it's split either into sets of 6 Eisius or into sets of 3. There's Nusach Sfard and Nusach Ashkenaz. There's different ways. So that's what he did. And then later, Paitonim from Eretz Yisrael in the later years took these Eisius and put words to them, and so it's the Biyasoide. It's Reb Nechunya ben Akana. But either way, Al Kopanim, this is a special tefillah. It says Do'azat Taich, which actually it sounds right in the words that this is a tefillah of a shliach tzibur, because he's representing the Yidden, and he's talking to the Eibush that this is Bereshi Yichudcha, this is we're now talking as a tzibur, which is going to come together to say Krishma, or it's come together to Zeichei Kedushasecha, to say Kaddish Kaddish. But Al Kopanim, what's happening over here is that it's a special tefillah where the teichen is clearly for the goal. This is there's many Seides which are mavur in this Iyun. It says that Reb Chaim Vital says the Arizal would say this Tefila with a special ni'ima v'nigun. There's a phenomenal Maisis from the Baal Shem Tov where it says that the neshama of the Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shem Tov told his son Reb Tzvi that his neshama could be found in this in the Ana B'Kayach. So we're certainly talking about a Gora Helike Tefila, but the Teichen of the Tefila is it's a Tefila on the Golus. It's Bapashto is also why it said right after Karbanis in the morning, because it's continuing this theme that we want to be Makriv Karbanis, but we don't have the Aveitz Beis HaMikdash. All those which say that it's because Mem Beis Eisius, so it's instead of Birchas Kenim, which wasn't mentioned in the Abaya Ava Masader. I'll call upon it. So just before we go into the actual piyut, just a hagdama about the structure. So just a bavaran, I haven't seen that it should be mavur. I looked around, I couldn't find a proper biur in the structure, so I'm just going to say visa leiktach by mir after trying to make some kind of seder in it. There are 7 lines in this piyut, and the way I understand it is the first 2 lines is saying the theme bichlolus, and then the next 5 lines is taiching ois bepratis. And if you'll notice, we begin with honor, with his abakasha, and then we say he's talking in third person, he's talking objectively, he's saying, talking about the tzibur, and then he concludes with 2 things. First of all, he says, suddenly we're talking not about Yidden, but he's saying, Sagveinu, Tahareinu, we're talking about, it's not them, it's us. And then he says, Neira, turning to the Eibishter with one final word, you. The Eibishter, we call you Neira. The same thing happens in the next 5 lines. We begin with no giber. Again, he goes objectively talking about the tzibur, and then he concludes with talking in very starke Wörter about us. And he finishes off with Yedei Ta'alumas. So l'chayra, that's going to be the structure. The difference is, in the beginning, we only say the general theme. What do we want from the Eibishter? He should take the Yidden out of Golos and accept our tefillas. Afterwards, we go bepratius. Why? To justify it, explain who the Yidden are and why the Eibishter should want to accept the tefillas of the Yidden and take us out of Golos. Just one more ha'ara before we actually read the Ana B'Kayach. You'll see there are some Sidurim which have a comma or a nukuda after every second word. So it's Ana B'Kayach, a nukuda, B'Gdulas Yimincha, a nukuda. This is Al-Pi Kabbalah. Reb Chaim Vital writes that this is from the Arizal, and he explains that every line is supposed to be, it's like the Malachim have 6 wings, and each 2 wings, each one has their own matore, b'shnaim yeifiv, b'shnaim chasapana, v'chulu. So therefore, that's the kavanah. But the pashtus in pshat, it's not grammatically like that, and l'chayra, that's why it says the Taz brings from the Arizal that it's nog to say every line of 6 words in one breath. So like this, you have both milas. Mitzadechot, it's tako altogether. We have these 6 per 2, plus you also have in the Teichen, it works. So let's begin the Ana B'Kayach itself. Ana, we beg the Eibishter, please, B'Kayach Gedulas Yamincha, with the strength of your right hand, Tatir Tzrura, release us from captivity or from bondage. Pashtus, we're talking about release us from captivity, from bondage of Galus. There are those which want to touch Tzrura is also Miloshin Isha Aguna, who's a Tzruras. So that's like a Yidden, the way they are in Galus, it's like their husband has left them, so we want the Eibishter to release us from this matzav, and we should come together again. There are those are types that Tzrura is Tzarur, captive in the hands of the Yitzhahara, but that's clearly not the Pashta Pshat. So we're saying to the Eibishter, release us from captivity, Kabil Rinas Amcha, accept the Rina. Rina is a Shir Shal Shevach, Rashi says. Sagveinu Tahareinu, strengthen us and purify us. Neira. Neira is the Eibishter. We're going to have over here, come upon him, talking to the Eibishter with a strong kinui. So this is the structure of this piyut. Sagveinu Tahareinu, Neira. The Meiridike Eibishter. So to amplify what we're saying over here, we're saying not only we're asking for the Eibishter to raise us, to strengthen us, sakvenu, nor taharenu, to purify us. This is like ma mikve metayres atzmein. We're asking the Eibishter to take us out of Golus und zu uns reinigen, to be metayres the Klal Yisrael. This was l'chayre the klal. These first two lines is the klal of Ana B'Koich. Now we're going to tie choice. Why should the Eibishter take us out of Golus and be mekabel our tefillas? Because who the Yidden are? So no, please, Giber, referring to the Eibishter, you are the strong one. Those which search for your yichud, those which say Krishma, and those which kach sich in Achtes Hashem, kevavas shomrim, guard them like the apple of your eye. Borchem tarim, bench them, purify them. Rachmitzet koscha tamid gomleim, the give to the Yidden but rachmim, but it's a rachmim which is coming from the Eibishter's tzedek. This is justified. It's righteous. We deserve this rachm. Chasin is the Eibishter's strength. Like mikamecha chasin ka. So we're talking to the Eibishter as a strong one. Kodesh, heiliker, bereif tuv chanai ladasecha, with your great goodness, lead your congregation, your Eidah. Now, Nahel could mean to run, so this is also could be the pshat in the Bakasha. We're asking the Eibishter, für the Welt, run Klal Yisrael, take care of things. The Nahel also means Miloshen, Almei Menuchas Yenahaleni, that the Eibishter is leading us, guiding us, and as Bepashtas to take us out of Golus. Yochit, the Eibishter is one. Geyer, you are Merumim. Yeah, as we know, Bepashtas, the Taich, Geyer is, the Eibishter is strong. The Eibishter, as exalted and merumim as the Eibishter is, despite that, turn to your nation, those which remember to say Kaddish. The Pashtus means those which are say Kaddish, Amakadosh the Eibishter. This is the way we're explaining to the Eibishter why it's right, who we are, and why you should take us out of Golus. But over here, just like we had in the first two lines, after talking in third person, where this Yid is turning to the Eibishter and talking about the Yidden, Baruchim, Taharim, they should be released and gebenched. Over here, this is like a certain burst. This is the starkheit of this piyut. We say, Shavasenu kabelu shmatzakosenu. Hear our cry. We're talking, he's like can't control himself, and he wants Mashiach to come. Yedei ta'alumas. The Eibishter who knows the secrets. What's the lashon over here? So over here we're clearly not only talking about, like we began in very subtle, this Yid hat sich gestellt davenen, and he said to the Eibishter, Kabel rina samcha, rina is a shir shel shevach. We're coming to shul to talk to the Eibishter in a pleasant way. Over here, by the time Ana B'Koich is finished, mishreit to the Eibishter as Shavaseinu and Tzakaseinu. What's the difference between a shaiva and a tzayka? So a shaiva is, we know, is B'Koich. Yeah, as we say, Akshiva l'kel shavi. So there's a kol. Tzayka could be tzak libo melavaya. Tzayka is tzaykas halevis. It's explained in Chassidus Barichas. So the taich is over here. We're coming and screaming to the Eibishter, but there's something deeper in us which we can't express. There's why I want to shamas. There's no the admosai met anemis. And the Eibishter knows this and sees this. So you're Yedei Ta'alumis. You know what's found in Bechadrei Bitnei Behelem by everybody. So we're saying to the Eibishter, because you're Yedei Ta'alumis, you could see what's going on. That's not only a shaiva, it's a tzaykas halef. So the Achsidische Taich, it's not in Chabad, it's not from the Strelisker. He says, as a word, says a Yid davens for Gashmis, but be'emes be'pnimis a davens for Ruchnis. Elamai is not to express it. It's a grober mensch. So he said, we're turning to the Eibishter and saying, you should accept our shaiva, our bakol, what we could say, but listen carefully, because you're there to alumas to our tzayka pnimis. It's like al derech, the word of Tefillas Chana, that the pnimi is what really a Yid wants, and we're asking you to listen closely to what we're really davening for. And then we finish, Baruch Hashem Kived Mechusa Leilam Vod. We just said Shem Mab, we said the Shem of the Eibishter. After the Shem of the Eibishter, Zakman Baruch Shem. Das is out the third Teffila, which we're saying after Sefiras. Okay, someone's asking over here, what was made by the Menuchunim Makana, what was made by the Paitonim? Just to clarify, the pastures from the Lashon of the Rashba is that the actual Nusach was made by the Menuchunim Makana, and that's the way it's accepted. Just wanted to say that there are those which suggest that we're talking over here about the splitting of the Osius into these segments, into the Rosh Tevis, which we look at, the Krasoton v'chulu, whether we look at them as 6 or as 3, there's different, Sfardim and Ashkenazim, there's different ways how to do that, but the actual Nusach was based on that, on these sets of 6 or 3. But again, the Pashtus, the Lashon HaRashba is that the Menuchunim Makana Alein, he made this Nusach. Okay. We're short on time, but let's at least get the basics of what the Rebbeinu Shalom is. We're saying now, after asking the Eibishter Harachman should build the Beis HaMikdash and describing the Gula, and then asking for the Gula and all of Bekeach, now we are finishing off what's the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer, how are we going to get there? What Sefiras HaOmer do? It's Mevarer ourselves and it's Mevarer the world. So we say to the Eibishter, you commanded us, like it says in the Zayar, that the idea of Sefiras HaOmer is v'safrala, you have like the Shiva Nakiyas by a woman. So likewise, we want to be purified from our tum. Then we bring the Raya, which the Zayar brings from the Pasuk, Sfartim Lochem. What's the Raya? Because the Pasuk says Lochem. Lochem teaches the Zayar is for you. It's not only you should count for the Eibishter or count for the HaOmer. It's La'atzmechem, in order to be able to be purified. And that's the Raya. Now that we've established that this is the Seder of Sefiras HaOmer, we begin to daven. And we say, therefore, Yehirotzim Ufanecha, Pischus this Sefira. First of all, I should be mesaken what I was pagim in the Sefira of Etor V'Skadosh B'Kedusha Shal Mailo. So there's going to be a tikkun of the Sefiras, the way they are Lamaila and Atzilas, and therefore the Eibishter will relate to the world in a different way, in a closer way, more begali in the world, Shefa Rav B'chol Ha'ilmas, and all Seder Shtalshalos. And not only that, but also our own nefesh, to be mesaken, Nafshiseinu, V'Rechaseinu, V'Nishmeseinu, Nefesh Ruach Neshama, from Kol Sigu Pgam, U'Letarenu, U'Lekatshenu, B'Gdushas Cha'al Amin Salah. The Rebbe once said in Tafshim Mem Zayin, the Tarenu is Surmeira, from negative things, or Lekatshenu B'Gdushascha, that's Asay Teiv. So these are two stages in how our Nefesh Ruach and Neshama are going to be purified through the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer. Because Adkan is the pashtus just running through these 4 tefillas. Aber, here comes the problem. L'chayre, okay, so generally speaking, the theme is Geula, which we see how this all comes together. But with a bit of closer inspection, there are things which really don't add up. First of all, what's Ana B'Keach doing over here? The pashtus, we know it's explained in Chassidus that the Shem Mab in Yoni is HaLoh. That's why we say Shem Mab by Krishma Shalamita. We say it because that's when the Neshama is going up to the Eibishter. We say Shem Mab, we say Ana B'Keach before Daven by the Karbonis, because the Karbonis is about HaLoh, bringing up the Karban or the Nefesh Ba'amis or the Dvarim Gashmim Lamaila. We say it by Lechadedi because it's the end of the week, bringing up the week. This is Shabbos. So it's all about HaLoh. Why? Because Mab is Mem Beis Masois, like the Yitzias Mitzrayim, leaving the Tachten and being Eile, Mem Beis Masois, V'Yisu V'Yachnu, going higher and higher, going closer to the Eibishter. Masha Ein Kein, Sefiras HaOmer, is bringing down Elokus. Shefa Rav B'Chol Oilams. That's why Mem Beis doesn't have Malchus. It's only 6, and it doesn't have the 7th. So we have, in every Sefira, we count Chesed, but we don't count the Malchus of Chesed, because we're not looking to come down, we're looking to rise, we're looking to go up. If so, Ana B'Keach doesn't belong in Sefiras HaOmer. Sefiras HaOmer is about being Mamshech Halakus in the world. And it certainly doesn't belong next to Lamnatzeich Ben Guinness, which is all about the Memtes. And it actually says clearly in Likutei Torah and Masei, he makes this distinction. There's Shem Mab, and then there's Memtes of Sefiras HaOmer. So the way we deal with it is that in Ana B'Keach, we're mechaven also in the Rosh Tevis, and we include that in the list. Okay, but that's a cop-out. In the Teichen, L'cheira, the idea of Ana B'Keach is the opposite of Sefiras HaOmer. Second question. In the Seder of the Kavanos, the Seder is different to the way we say it. We say Harachman, then we say Lamatzech Meginis, Ana B'Keach, and Rebbeinu Shaled. When it comes to the Kavanos, so every day you mechavan a word from Ana B'Keach and a word from Lamnatzech Ben Guinness, we make first the Kavanah for Ana B'Keach and then the Kavanah for Lamnatzech Ben Guinness. That's clearly the Lashon of the Alter Rebbe, which is printed in the Siddur. And also, if you look in Yom Echad La'omer, that's also the Seder. First we have the Ana B'Keach word, then the Lamnatzech Ben Guinness. Now, just to clarify, there are some Siddurim which lately, I think, I'm not sure if they change back and forth, where beginning from the second day, they reshuffled it and they organized it in a way that first you have the Kavanah of the Lamnatzech Meginis, so it should be like the Seder HaTefila. But it's a mistake. It's not the way it is in the Nusach of the Alter Rebbe, and there's a reason why in Yom Echad La'omer it's like that. Really, this is the way it should be followed. Dayan Raskin has a whole shtickle in the Haaretz on the Siddur, where he goes through the various Tfusim, how it worked. But L'Poyel, it's clear that in Amira, we go through the Seder the way it says, Lamatzech Meginis, then Ana B'Keach, but in Kavanah it should be the opposite. And the Shaila is why. Just another 2 questions, if we're talking about the general theme of Sefiras HaOmer. So, in the Rebbeinu Shalom, it seems like there's a kefal haloshen. First, we say ve'etoyer ve'eskadish b'kedusha shel ma'ila v'idei ze yushpashef harav. So I'm being toyer ve'eskadish. So l'chura I'm already metayir myself, and then as a result of being metayir myself, I'm bringing kedusha into the world. But then he says again, through this ulasakinas nafsheseinu v'rechiseinu. So and again we continue ulatarenu lekachenu. So twice it looks like we're being metayir ourselves. This is interesting. One final question: what's the harachmon specifically connected to Sefiras HaOmer, and why did we change it from the Nusach, the Lashon of Teisvis of the Hiratz? So let's just get to the Nekudas Advarim, the way it's explained in Chassidus, the idea of Sefiras HaOmer. Well, if we'll understand all of the above. So there was a Yid in Manchester, Rabbi Yitzchak Dubov. He asked actually the Rebbe this question: why do we say Ana B'Keach in Sefiras HaOmer? L'chora, it's if you know a bissel Chassidus, Ana B'Keach is the idea of Halah, and Sefiras HaOmer is about Amshacha, like it clearly says in the Likutei Torah Masei. So the Rebbe answered very short. It's in a letter in Igros and Chilek Zayin. The Rebbe said because Sefiras HaOmer also has the component of Tnufa, which is part of the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer. So let's unpack that. What's the idea of Sefiras HaOmer? We're looking to elevate the 49 Sefiras the way they have been expressed in the Ishavas of the world. But whenever you look to elevate, to fix something, there are 2 stages. First, they have to return, and then they could be nimshech ba'ifan mechudesh, in a fresh way. Let's just say bepashtus. If there's a relationship between 2 people, and there's something being corrupted, something's gone wrong. So first we say, okay, let's take a step back. Let's pull back this yachas, and then we're going to be mamshich a yachas mechadosh in a fresh, new, and corrected way. Just like l'mashal, when a person wakes up in the morning, so his nefesh is spread in his guf, and it's expressed in all of his evarim. But throughout the day, then he gets weakened, and he gets, so to speak, distant from the nefesh. That's what it means that the Ivarim feel less nefesh. That's fatigue. That's what tiredness is, that he feels less alive. So the first thing is that he has to return, and that's the idea of going to sleep. That's being Eila. And that's taka why we say Ana B'Keich when we go to sleep, by Krishma Shalamita, because we are returning to our Makir, returning to our nefesh, and really our nefesh is returning to its Makir, to its maker. And then we could be Mamshechit Mechadash. That's the relationship that we have by Sefiras HaOmer. Sefiras HaOmer has to have the Tanufa component. First we're being Milo, we take the HaOmer and we lift it. Then we could be Mamshech, we could have the Sefira where we're Mamshech every day. Now that it's come back to its marker, the Yachas of the Eibishter to the world is Malchus. But the Eibishter is being Mahava B'chol Rega. And it's Beprotius, it's the 49 Sefiras. Let's go back. So we're leaving Malchus behind, and we're being Eile. It's as if to say the Midas are going back to the Meichin and leaving the Malchus. No Gilil Azulas. Let's go back to the marker. That's why it's 42. And that's where it's Ana B'Keich. Then, only afterwards could we have the Hamshacha Mechadash, which is the building of a corrected world. Lefizeh, it comes out beautiful, so perfect, the Kavanas. So technically, when we say the Amira, we do the Psukim of Tilim before we do a Piyut. That's the Seder Advar. This is a Teresh B'chsav, and only then are we going to do the Piyut. But if we're talking in the Kavanas, so it works fakert. First, you have to have the Aliyah. And that's why when we're Mechaven, first we're Mechaven the honor, and only then are we Mechaven which is the word of Ana B'Keich, and only then are we Mechaven the word from Lanotzech Ben Guinness. Because first there's the Aliyah, and then there's the Yirit. Now, it's important to emphasize that it's very geschmack to see how the pshat and the teichem pnimi go hand in hand. Always the pshat is the guf, and the teichem pnimi is the neshama. What's the teichem of Ana B'Keich? The teichem of Ana B'Keich is how special Yidden are, how different they are to the world, and how connected the Yid is with the Eibishter, which is the tnu of ha'allah. It's leaving the world behind. What's Lam Natzech Ben Guinness, the 49, is we're not in a stage of 42 leaving Malchus behind. Fakert. We're being mamshech the Eibishter into the world, and that's why it's going to be in a eifin of Yeducha Amim till Yismechu Lo'omim. That we're going to be mamshech till that the world is going to celebrate and appreciate bis kol kaftzei oretz, that the world itself, and that's the pashtus, why it's the Menorah Magen David. He's going and he's dealing with the world. He's lighting the world. He's coming and expressing the emes of Elokus in the world. So first there's the Aliyah and Ana B'Keich, the connection of Yid with the Eibishter, and then, which is the beginning of Aveda, and only then could we be mamshech and bepashtus. That's the way it works. The Seder Ayim every day. To connect to the Eibishter, and then there could be Hanek B'Minik Derech Eretz to come and be mamshech into the world. So this is the structure of Sefiras HaOmer. So if once we have this Yisod, let's just go through the Seder. We began with the question: what's special? Why do we say Harachman specifically by Sefiras HaOmer? So there's an interesting ma'aser. In Tafshin Yud Aleph, just after the Rebbe accepted the Nesius, so the Rebbe began saying Mamorim. So this is Do'a Seder, as a Yom Tov Zakt Merech Mamorim. That's the way it was by the earlier Rabbi. So it came the second day of Yom Tov, Pesach. Chassidim approached the Rebbe, asked for a Maimer. And the Rebbe responded that the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer is about the Aved of the Tacht. In other words, the message was clear. The Aved of Sefiras HaOmer is not hearing Chassidus from the Rebbe, it's other Rebbe, it's Aleinton. And then the Rebbe said the Geschmack Taich. Why do we say Harachmon or Yachzelon Avedas Beis HaMikdash? What's this emphasis? If we would say only the Yehi Rotzen, so good, Yehi Rotzen is that the Eibush is going to give us a Beis HaMikdash. The message over here is different. We're saying we're going to do Sefiras HaOmer, and Sefiras HaOmer is about our Aveda. It's the Aveda of Birur HaTachten, it's the Aveda of Birur HaMidas, it's the Aveda of Birur of the world. We are coming Malmata L'mayla. We've done our Aveda. Therefore, we deserve to have the Avedas Beis HaMikdash. We're not davening for the building of the Beis HaMikdash, we're davening for the Aveda of the Beis HaMikdash, which has come as a result of our Aveda in the time of Sefiras HaOmer. So the first thing which we do after saying the bracha and the Sefira is, we say this statement: we've done our Aveda, the Birur, and now we want to b'schus zeh get the full Aveda, the Avedas Beis HaMikdash. Then we translate it in detail. We say in the Aveda there's the Haloah and the Hamshacha, the Ana B'Kayach, and there's the Lam Natzeich Min Guinness. With this Teichen, then we conclude with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Perhaps, again, I didn't see this clearly, but it sounds like in the Teichen, what we're saying in the Rebbeinu Shalom is, when we say L'Tareinu L'Kachenu, or sorry, not L'Tareinu L'Kachenu, before that, when we say that we're coming to be Metair, Etoir, Veskadish, B'Kedush, Shalmayla, V'Aideze, Yushpa, Shef, Harav, first we're saying is that we're being Eile. Etoir, Veskadish, B'Kedush, Shalmayla. We're not being Mevarer now, yet the Metzias. There's a Tnu of Ha'allah, and through this, is we're masaking the Sefiras Lamayla. As a result, we have the Hamshacha, Adez, Yushpa, Shef, Harav, and now we could deal with the details. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, to take be Mevarer the Tachten, to bring down Elokus, which is the klolistic message, the Aved of Sefiras HaOmer. Okay. Adkan is the beer. Let's just see if there's anything on the chat. Yeah. Oh, someone mentioned today's Tanya. Right. It's mamish the Teichen from the Heineke Tanya in Mechitas. Okay. All right. Sei gesund, mit Hashem. The next week is going to be Rabbi weiter on Sefiras HaOmer, and then the following week we're going to be getting back to the regular Seder in the Seder of davening in the Pashat Teffila of Yemei Sachar. Sei gesund.